Hello and welcome to episode 2 of my Kubifaktorium tutorial Let's Play series. This episode will be will be on continuing Kubifaktorium's tutorial. Okay, so in the last episode we got a well set up with a stockpile. Nice and simple stuff, just the way we like it. This episode you're seeing we're starting off now with farming. Farming, of course, is important for getting food and materials, although this starting bit of farming will be for food, and it's going to be specifically for strawberries. Now, before we start to build a farm or anything like that, it would be nice to get rid of the trees that are in the way. So remember, just left click the mine and harvest, and what you can do is press the pro tip coming on, you can press the Alt key and then left click on a particular resource and it will target all of them resources within your borders. So if they're outside of the border, like that one is, that oak tree is, it won't select it. Oh, it has selected it. But if it's outside of your border, then it won't select it. Okay, so you'll see there's oak trees and pine trees. Let's get rid of the pine as well. Wood is something we're going to go through, tons of it, so that's why I've got no problem with getting lots of wood on the ground. We're going to do a stockpile for it in a minute. Oh, look at that, so we've just reached the inventory target for wooden logs. Remember, for every island you go to, you'll have a list of inventory targets that you need to accumulate resources or processed items. As you progress through the islands, the items will get more complex that you will need to acquire, and that is where a lot of the fun comes in. You have a reason to progress, to keep playing, you need to meet the targets, but it's done in an ever so nice way. Right, okay, back to the farming. Now that we've cleared these trees out the way, we're going to build ourselves a farm. So down here with the little leaf icon is the farm. If we left click, same as doing a stockpile, just drag and drop. Before I do that though, I noticed that I've got flowers in the way, so I need to get rid of them as well. Flowers are very quick for your colonists to harvest, very quick. Flowers are very, very useful for making tea, which give your colonists more satisfaction with drink, so it will fill up more of their thirst bar. Talking of that, if I click on the colonist, you can see here's all the details, and here's the drink, here's the food. We haven't got any food yet. They're not going to die, they're just going to move more slowly, so it's all good. But yeah, with the drink, the tea is very great for that. Right, okay, so now the flowers have gone. We still have this other, these are ferns I think, oh they're weeds, so we're going to get rid of them as well. Always clear the land first, otherwise it's a pain because if I try to build the farm, it's going to go around all these blocks of weeds and flowers and trees, and so you'll end up with a really weird looking farm. It won't look nice. Clear the land first. Don't take long, as you can see. Right, let's click the farm now and just drag and select. I'm going to do a big farm because it'll do no harm to have lots of food. There you go. Right click, get rid of that. Now left click on the farm. We need to tell it what product we're going to grow. So we want to do strawberries because that's what the tutorial's telling us. So left click, notice it's green. Okay, it's telling us now there's no output stockpile. So that's what we can do next. Now I might be running a road through here, so I'm going to do the stockpile. Remember, it's the box icon. So I'm going to leave a 1 tile gap for a road. And I'm going to make it quite, I'm going to do a 5 by 5. Oops. 5 by 5, there we go. Because it's the main food we're going to be eating. Okay, again, if I left click on that, you can manually select, but when you get further on in the game, there is hundreds of items. You aren't going to want to do it that way. Best way to do it, select the building, in this case the farm, then right click on the stockpile. Notice when I right click, when you see a flag on a stockpile, that means no resource has been assigned to that stockpile. So when I right click, you're going to see the flag disappear. Bang. I've told it the goods from this building, it's a farm, the goods from this farm will automatically go here. So if I now left click this stockpile, you see it's automatically selected strawberries. And that's all it's going to accept. I don't want it to accept anything else because food and water are two important things. So I make sure that the stockpiles are dedicated to them resources. Right. Next, construct basic workplace. Workplaces are where you're going to get your wooden boards from. Wooden boards are going to be something you're going to need tons of from now on. So that should always be something that you do build nearly straight away. If you left click on, it doesn't work on this in the tutorial, but when you get the recommendations up the top later on, you can left click on the recommendation and it will automatically take you to that building type. That is so cool. A really cool feature. Right, before I build the basic workshop though, I want to harvest these rocks because we're going to need them. So remember, select the harvest, press the Alt key, left click, and it will do all the rocks within your perimeter of your colony. That is just such a cool feature. And I'm also going to do these strawberry bushes because we've got a stockpile for them now. So, Alt left click, there you go. So then I'll be able to build. There shouldn't be no more obstacles of resources within the perimeter of my colony now once these have been harvested. Of course, when I build another campfire and expand the colony more, then I'll have loads more resources I'll need to clear, but that's good because you need rock. Something very, very important to remember with Kubifaktorium is when you finish an island, you will take all the resources, and I do mean all the resources that you've gathered. It will strip down buildings, farms and wells and everything else and store all of them resources in your boat. It's very important to realise and remember that, because when you go on to further islands, some of them will be small and it will take time to get the resource, or there simply will not be that resource on that island. So if you build up the resources on your boat, then when you get to that next island, you'll have an abundance of maybe a resource that's not even there. But there are other ways to get resources that aren't present on an island, which we'll cover at a later date. Right, I can speed this up quickly. Get them to finish mining these resources. Lovely feature of this game, although that's pretty standard in any type of this game. There we go. So right, all the resources have gathered. Before I do this basic workplace, let's clear the ground a bit by doing a couple of stockpiles. Okay, now you'll notice that there is sand that we can't use around the outer edge. You can actually do foundation grass, but it is going to use one of our rocks up. But just to quickly demonstrate it, if I left click now and drag on them, you see it's now turned that to grass. Now you'll notice we couldn't do this sand here, you never can near the boat. But this now over here, if we go to stockpile, which is what I want to now make, you see now we can use that for the stockpile. So right, what I'm going to do is first a wooden stockpile. Let's make it, it's going to be a lot of wood. That should be good. Now, because there's no building to associate with it, I'm going to need to manually select. So left click the stockpile, and you see the logs are there. Left click, turns green. That's all that this is going to now accept. Now you're probably wondering, what's the point in doing a stockpile for it when it's just on the ground? Two reasons. One, it looks tidier, and two, you'll notice that the stocks of that item, you get a lot more of that stock per tile. So it's definitely worth having a stockpile for your different resources. Look, it's putting them on top of each other. So it's putting like about 5 tiles worth of wood into one tile in the stockpile. Right, let's now do a stockpile for this rock. Again, I want to make it quite big. There we go. Left click and choose rock. Great, that's going to make it all nice and tidy. Let's speed it up. I love the way I can just quickly do that. Oh, our inventory target for strawberries has been met. And notice here, feature I've not mentioned yet, that as your colonists do work, they gain levels. As they gain levels, they become noticeably quicker at the resource that they're gathering. Now you're going to notice as we progress through the islands that we're going to not have enough water, because the colonists will start by being low level and slow, because we're going to recruit more colonists in the future and their skills are going to be low. So at the beginning of the game we won't have enough water and the colonists just can't keep up. But as they gain levels, you'll notice it's suddenly that it is starting to creep up. So that is a really, really cool feature of Kubifaktorium, is that they gain levels in all the different skills, and even combat is just fantastic. It's just all so well done. Anyway, let's speed it up again. See, the farm's going great. What happens is they plant the seeds, the strawberries, and then they use water from the well to water the fields. You can make later on a sprinkler which automatically waters the fields for you, so it saves you using up your water. And then later on from that, even more advanced, you can have an automated farm where it grows and harvests for you. Oh, it's just awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You're going to hear me say that word a lot. Right, let's do now a stockpile for the clay. And I do want to try and keep room for a road. So I'm not going to do a big stockpile for the clay. Just... yeah, 3 times 4. And let's choose clay. There we go. Oh, look at that. I've gained level 4 in farm work. And if I left click that, it takes you to the person and then shows you the details. So let's have a quick look at this, shall we? Now, if we go down here, up here is job assignments. This is important for you to grasp and understand. You're not expected to straight away, so don't worry. I'm only going to go over it a little bit now, but then later on, as it becomes more relevant, I'll go more in depth into this. The job assignments are so we can set this colonist to be a combat. They can do multiple assignments, but obviously the more assignments that you give them, the less time they'll spend at each one. Whereas if I only selected combat, this would be a pure melee, pure warrior, and he wouldn't be doing any of these other assignments. Down here you have the workshops, because as well as assignments like combat and gathering of resources and building buildings and carrying goods between locations, buildings for logistics, here you can actually specify what buildings that they can work in. It's important for you to distinguish between the resource gathering, combat and these other tasks, assignments, to the buildings, the workshops. For example, if we're not getting enough water, we're not going to be choosing an assignment, we need to choose the well to make sure that that colonist has the well selected. If we're not getting enough fabrics, then we'd need to make sure that they were in the textile workplace. So that is something important to realise. If you're not getting enough of a particular resource, you need to understand, is it because you haven't got the right assignment selected or the right workshop? Right, okay, so they've cleared the ground off. Let's slow things down. Next then, continuing with the tutorial, construct a basic workplace. Always well. That's something important for these. When they gain levels with the well, that's what gets you. See that? Look, full up with water now. Because they're gaining so many levels. Anyway, let's do the basic workplace. This is where we're going to get our wooden planks from, which are going to be needed. They're under the workshop icon, and there's the basic workshop. So the basic workplace can be used to craft wooden boards and stone blocks. They're two very important resources early game, wooden boards and stone blocks. It'll give us access to some really cool things to build. So I'm going to left click that. Okay, so we're going to need to do a stockpile for it. I'm going to place it let's see, yeah, let's place it there. Right, okay, so if I left click on this now, even though it's not built yet, I can still choose what item, what resource item to make. You have these left and right arrows, so if I click the right arrow, you'll see it goes on to making more items. There are tons more items you can make. Not in the basic, you get an upgraded workplace, which then enables your colonists to upgrade their tools and their weapons. Do you remember in episode 1 when I was reading what it said on the Steam store page and it said making legendary items? The game wasn't kidding. You really can go on to make some really cool stuff. Anyway, so what we need to make is wooden boards. That's what the tutorial is telling us. So we left click, it's turned green. This is now going to make them, but there's no output stockpile assigned, so that's what we need to do next. So I'm going to make the stockpile. I'm going to do a 3x3 because I want to leave one tile for a road. Right click to remove it. Remember, left click the building, right click the stockpile, and it auto selects the resource. So there we go. Oh, tutorial's happy. It's moved on. Okay, so now it's telling us recruit stranded castaways. Some castaways want to join your colony. Expand your territory to them. And then it will automatically recruit them once they fall within our territory. So, okay, reach inventory targets. That's telling us about these items that were up here. The only thing we need to now reach is the wooden boards. So it says here, finally, before moving on to the next island, we should reach our inventory target for this island. So yeah, just some more wooden boards. And if I hover over it, you can see we've got one in the inventory. And he'll keep making them, and we'll get there. Okay, so we need to expand our borders. Let's now remove this raised land. You can press the Alt key and left click and it will then select all of the raised land within the perimeter. Again, so useful, so wonderful. I could have manually just dragged and selected, but if you want precision, then you just simply Alt left click. Let's speed it up. See, I want to put my next campfire just about there. You can see now, look. Oh, there's the timer. You can see, look, we got plenty of drink and plenty of food. We really won't have to worry about that. I know it's just at the beginning and it's a tutorial, for goodness sake, but that's always going to be the way. That is a nice size farm to start you off with. And water is used for so many different things. Do not be fooled into thinking, no, I only need a 2x2 for water. Water will be used for a ton of things as well as drinking. It's used for a lot, so I'm not even going to try to remember and list them all, but remember you're going to need lots of water, so have a fair size. Right, we've got the amount of wooden boards that we needed. Now, as our colonists build stuff, they may use some of the resources that you need for the inventory target, but once the items have been built, then they'll go back to hoarding up the resources, so don't worry too much about that. Right, actually what I'm going to do though, I don't want him to use all the boards up, so I'm going to pause or disable that building because I don't need any more wooden boards, and we've only got a little bit of wood left, and I've chopped down all the trees, so I don't want to run out of wood. So by disabling the building, it will stop him using up. You need to be aware of that as well, especially with the stone in later levels. You can use up all your stone and then you'll need it, but there is another way of getting it. Right, okay, you've cleared the land, the timer's gone. I'm going to end the episode here. In the next episode we will look at recruiting these castaways to show you just how cool that is. The more people you have, the more jobs that can be covered, because as you build more and more buildings you're going to need more and more colonists. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep you safe. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.